Welcome to the Track Paths Beyond the Call podcast, where history, leadership, and heroism come alive. Today's episode explores the story of Specialist 5th Class Clarence Eugene Sasser, a powerful account of courage and perseverance during the Vietnam War. If you enjoy learning more about military history and extraordinary individuals, be sure to visit trackpads.com for articles, podcasts, and more. Specialist 5th Class Clarence Eugene Sasser exemplified extraordinary heroism during the Vietnam War, earning the Medal of Honor for his courageous actions on January 10, 1968, in Dinh Thuong Province, Vietnam. As a combat medic attached to Company A, 3rd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, 9th Infantry Division, Sasser repeatedly risked his own life under intense enemy fire to save wounded comrades, despite sustaining multiple severe injuries himself. His unwavering bravery and dedication not only saved numerous lives, but also became an enduring testament to selfless service. Amid the deafening chaos of rockets and relentless gunfire, a wounded Sasser refused medical evacuation, determined instead to drag himself through mud and enemy fire to reach his injured brothers in arms. Bleeding, barely mobile, yet unyielding, he whispered reassuring words while bandaging wounds and organizing evacuations, epitomizing the medic's creed so others may live. This harrowing act of valor in the Mekong Delta rice paddies illustrates vividly the depth of sacrifice Medal of Honor recipients willingly embrace, forever marking Sasser's name among America's greatest heroes. Historical context. Clarence Sasser's heroic actions unfolded against the volatile backdrop of the Vietnam War, a conflict deeply entrenched in Cold War tensions between the United States and Communist forces. By early 1968, the war had escalated significantly, with the United States intensifying military operations to counter the North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong guerrillas. The Tet Offensive, launched shortly after Sasser's act of bravery, underscored the unpredictability and severity of combat conditions United States soldiers faced in Vietnam, challenging the perception at home that victory was imminent. The geopolitical significance of Vietnam went beyond its borders, emblematic of the ideological struggle between capitalism and communism. The United States, driven by the domino theory, the belief that if one nation fell to communism, surrounding countries would follow, invested massive military resources in Vietnam. The resulting conflict divided American society deeply, sparking widespread protests and fueling debates about foreign policy and military ethics. In Dinh Thuong Province, where Sasser earned his Medal of Honor, the 9th Infantry Division faced grueling conditions typical of Mekong Delta warfare. The dense marshlands, rice paddies, and intricate waterways presented enormous tactical challenges, making traditional combat formations difficult and leaving American troops vulnerable to ambushes and surprise attacks. The region became notorious for its punishing environment and relentless combat operations, testing even the most experienced units. The 9th Infantry Division, also known as the Old Reliables, was tasked with aggressive reconnaissance and force operations designed to locate and eliminate Viet Cong and North Vietnamese forces operating in the Delta. Their mission was essential in disrupting enemy supply lines and logistics. Despite significant successes, the division suffered heavy casualties due to the persistent and ruthless guerrilla warfare tactics of their adversaries. Within this daunting operational framework, the role of combat medics like Clarence Sasser was critical, demanding exceptional courage under fire. Medics often had to expose themselves repeatedly to enemy fire to reach wounded soldiers, providing critical immediate care that meant the difference between life and death. Sasser's actions vividly illustrate the incredible risks and selfless dedication combat medics embodied throughout the conflict, highlighting their indispensable role within their units. Personal background. Clarence Eugene Sasser was born on September 2, 1947, in Chenango, Brazoria County, Texas, and raised in nearby Houston. Initially enrolled at the University of Houston as a chemistry student, Sasser's educational ambitions were abruptly disrupted when financial difficulties forced him to drop out. Subsequently drafted into the United States Army, he underwent training as a combat medic, ultimately deploying to Vietnam with the 9th Infantry Division in late 1967. After his heroic service in Vietnam, Sasser returned home to Texas and dedicated himself to civilian life, eventually pursuing further education. Although he did not complete his original degree, Texas A&M University later honored him with an honorary doctorate in 2014. Sasser continued to contribute meaningfully to his community and the nation through veterans advocacy, sharing his experiences to educate younger generations about courage, sacrifice, and the enduring lessons of service. Medal of Honor citation for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Specialist 5th Class Sasser, then Private 1st Class, Headquarters Company 3rd Battalion, distinguished himself while assigned to Company A 3rd Battalion on a reconnaissance and force operation. His company was making an air assault when suddenly it was taken under heavy, small arms, recoilless rifle, machine gun, and rocket fire from well-fortified enemy positions on 3 sides of the landing zone. During the first few minutes, over 30 casualties were sustained. Without hesitation, Specialist Sasser ran across an open rice paddy through a hail of fire to assist the wounded. After helping one man to safety, he was painfully wounded in his left shoulder by fragments of an exploding rocket. Refusing medical attention, he ran through a barrage of enemy fire to aid casualties of the initial attack, and, after giving them urgently needed treatment, continued to search for other wounded. Despite 2 additional wounds immobilizing his legs, he dragged himself through the mud toward another soldier 100 meters away. Although in agonizing pain and faint from loss of blood, Specialist Sasser reached the man, treated him, and proceeded on to encourage other soldiers. He remained in the area exposed to enemy fire for 5 hours until all wounded had been evacuated. Especially Sasser's extraordinary heroism is in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflects great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. The Battle and Medal of Honor Actions. On January 10, 1968, Specialist 5th Class Clarence Sasser found himself in the midst of a violent firefight in Ding Tong Province, deep within the perilous Mekong Delta. As Company A of the 3rd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment launched an air assault, their landing zone erupted into chaos when enemy fighters unleashed a sudden and devastating attack. Rockets exploded around them, recoilless rifle rounds thundered, and machine gun fire tore through their ranks, causing immediate casualties. Within minutes, the battalion's casualty numbers climbed alarmingly as over 30 soldiers fell wounded, leaving the unit dangerously vulnerable and desperate for aid. Without a moment's hesitation, Sasser sprinted across open rice paddies exposed to relentless enemy fire, determined to reach the wounded men scattered around him. Even as bullets cracked dangerously close, he maintained his composure, prioritizing the lives of his fellow soldiers above his own. In the midst of providing urgent first aid, Sasser was struck by fragments from an exploding enemy rocket, the shrapnel tearing into his left shoulder. Although the injury caused intense pain, Sasser steadfastly refused any assistance for himself, pushing on to care for other critically injured soldiers. His tireless determination and courage under fire inspired those around him, bringing order to the chaotic and increasingly dire situation. As enemy fire intensified, Sasser was again struck, this time with devastating injuries to his legs, rendering him nearly immobile. Undeterred by excruciating pain and substantial blood loss, he summoned every ounce of remaining strength to drag himself through the muddy fields toward another wounded comrade over 100 meters away. Each agonizing movement forward was a testament to his unyielding dedication and self-sacrifice. Upon reaching the isolated soldier, Sasser administered critical medical treatment and encouraged him, instilling hope amid overwhelming despair. His presence and reassurance had a profound impact, bolstering the morale of men who had all but resigned themselves to their fate. Throughout this ordeal, Sasser continued moving painstakingly from one casualty to another, performing life-saving interventions, despite his severe wounds and rapidly diminishing strength. Clarence Sasser's extraordinary resolve was unwavering for over 5 grueling hours, as he remained exposed to enemy fire until every wounded soldier was evacuated to safety. His fearless determination not only saved numerous lives, but also became a profound symbol of duty and selflessness. The courage Sasser displayed on that harrowing day vividly demonstrates the spirit of sacrifice and honor that defines the Medal of Honor, forever marking him among America's bravest heroes. Reflections and lessons learned. Clarence Sasser's extraordinary actions exemplify critical lessons in leadership and ethical responsibility, particularly emphasizing selflessness and perseverance under extreme adversity. His willingness to place the needs of his comrades above his own survival illustrates the profound ethical obligations inherent in leadership roles, highlighting that genuine leaders prioritize the well-being and safety of their teams above personal risk. Sasser's conduct challenges us to consider our own willingness to confront adversity for the benefit of others, both in military contexts and everyday life. Beyond bravery, Sasser's story underscores the importance of resilience, the capacity to continue functioning effectively despite injury, fear, and overwhelming odds. This resilience was demonstrated in Sasser's ability to maintain focus and remain committed to his mission despite multiple debilitating wounds. His determination teaches modern leaders and individuals the critical value of perseverance, reminding us that success often depends less on circumstances than on one's willingness to persist through hardship. Today, the lessons drawn from Clarence Sasser's heroic actions remain profoundly relevant, particularly for military personnel, first responders, healthcare workers, and leaders in all fields who regularly confront crisis situations. His example emphasizes the critical importance of training, preparedness, and ethical resolve in moments of extreme crisis. By embodying courage, compassion, and relentless dedication, Sasser provides a timeless blueprint for how leaders and individuals alike can confront danger with integrity, fortitude, and humanity. Close. Specialist Clarence Eugene Sasser's actions during the Vietnam War remain an enduring testament to the courage, dedication, and resilience that define Medal of Honor recipients. His story vividly illustrates the profound human capacity for bravery, highlighting how one individual's unwavering resolve can inspire hope, save lives, and leave an indelible mark on history. Stay tuned for our next feature in the Beyond the Call Medal of Honor Stories series, where we continue to explore remarkable acts of heroism and sacrifice. Be sure to subscribe, share this story, and help honor the legacy of those who went beyond the call. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the TrekPla's Military Modcast. If you would like to dive deeper into more stories of bravery, leadership, and history, visit trackpads.com. Until next time, keep exploring, stay inspired, and remember, the lessons of the past shape the warriors of the future.